Hello there, hard mode gamers. A week ago, I asked you all for some advice on how to be a better Monster Hunter World player. You know, I wanted to get real tips from the fans, not just generic grab a potion or eat before going out kind of advice that the tutorial shows you. You know, I'm looking for real advice, so I posted. I got quite a few answers from Facebook and Reddit, so I'm going to show them off to you and tell you about them. From Brandon, I have when fighting a monster for the first time, take about 5 to 10 minutes to observe its attack pattern, both when docile and enraged. Don't be like me. All I do is I just run in, I charge in, I start fighting, and then I get beaten up and dumped out onto the curb because I fainted. Because, instead of dying, whatever. But yeah, once I got to learn the rhythm of things, I had to follow along a lot more with what a monster's doing when they're attacking you. You know, you just watch, you look for all the cues, then you decide what technique to use once you've realized this. It's pretty important. There is a time limit, but as long as you strategize correctly, spending just a little bit of time just waiting for the monster to attack and observing how he attacks is the best way to fight. Gelu, I hope I'm saying that right. When using a hunting horn, you usually think it's supposed to be a support weapon, but that's a big no. It's more than you think. It has all these buffs, but this baby has exhaust and stun damage due to it being a blunt weapon. Always hit for the head to apply these damages. Always remember to play that self-improvement buff for speed when you're carrying it so you can run around carrying it. And if you anchor the self-improvement, it will have a buff that makes your weapon not bounce off any hard parts of the monster. Now, on to Encore, or Anchor. If you play it by pressing R2, you can play it again by pressing the same button again. This will allow you to extend your upgrades to your buffs. For example, Attack Up becomes Attack Up L instead of S. Then Earplugs L become Earplugs L Extended. Now to attacks. If you're looking for a faster attack, press circle or forward in circle. Note that you can stack up another note when using the forward circle when it's about to hit the second attack. If you're looking for a little more powerful attack, press triangle. Though it's a bit more slower than the previous forward triangle, makes a ground smack. Now if you're looking for a more powerful attack and has the possibility to KO the monster, press the triangle and circle. If you're moving forward, it will perform 2 attacks, and if you're steady, it'll perform a big upward strike, which can reach high places. Always try to maintain your buffs if possible, in order to maintain a good battle as well. It's a very useful weapon that nobody really notices its true capabilities, and just call it a support weapon. That was a mouthful, but, how do I put this? I'll take your word for it because I tried to play with it and I was not having a good time. A couple of people had tips about mounting. Jason writes, if you have trouble mounting a monster, the buttons in the top right will have a box around to prompt you which one to use and when. Dark Ritual 88 on Reddit adds, when you're mounted on a monster, instead of using the button to grip when it tries to buck you off, instead move around to another spot on the monster. It can only try to buck you off from one of its parts at a time. You can usually put mount hits faster on the body. It's not usually a huge increase, but it brings down a little faster. When the camera zooms in, you're about to do your mount finishing attack. There is a short period where you can move to the head to get better damage off, or the tail if you're trying to sever it. Yeah, the only time I've ever mounted a monster, I had no idea what I was doing. I just freaked out, pressed whatever buttons it told me. I didn't even know you could move around. I was just super glued to that one spot, and then I got kicked off, and that was the end of it for me. Over here, John writes, I always use the frogs. Shoot them with stones or wait for the monster to head your way, kick them, and run. You get free hits on sleeping monsters. Better yet, put a barrel bomb on the sleeping critter's head and shoot it with a rock. High break rates. Yeah, I can personally testify that the frogs are pretty useful. I was trying to find one so I could show it off. Basically, you always get these opportunities when you're driving around, when you're running around looking for things to do, and if you are not careful, that frog will wreck you. As I am now about to demonstrate, I kicked this frog right here, and I didn't run, and look at that. Yep. You could use this on an enemy, though. Michael writes, once you're far enough into the story, the shop sells you 2 charms that up defense and attack, but they take up 2 of your spots in your pouch. Now, once you start fight blaze dragons that hunt you down in high rank stuff, get 2 of his pieces from high and combine the charms, adding a larger attack bonus and defense boost, and then now you can go buy the original charms again and have an even larger boost. Now this does take 4 slots, but it's worth it. I only just got to the part where I can finally start using charms, and I got a decent one, but you gotta have the material for it. And this mineral right over here that I see at the bottom of every screen, I have no idea where to find that. I haven't found it yet, but once I do, I'm gonna make so many charms. Sebastian writes, always look at the skills your armor has, as well as the weaknesses and strengths. Having a full armor set is cool, but having the wrong armor set is deadly. And he's not kidding. When pressed for further questions, he said that some of the armor sets have higher ranked abilities once you unlock the high rank quests. You'll have access to different materials to make better charms and equipment decorations to boost the levels of your armor skills. Because mainly I was eluded me because I wasn't sure how to actually level up the skills, but it's a different skill tree. Leveling up your equipment doesn't level up the skill ability. That's set by higher quality equipment that you get. On the topic of sleeping bombs, I have 2 comments. One from Stick from Reddit, who writes, monsters take more damage from the first hit that wakes them up if they fall asleep. Knowing this, a fun trick is to stack bombs close enough to hurt it while leaving one trigger bomb further away. The idea is to set off the pile of explosives with the trigger, which again is for enough far away to not wake it, so the explosions all trigger at once and all benefit from the extra damage, rather than just the one bomb that gets cut or shot. It's a good point. Don't do what I do, because what I do is I find the sleeping monster after I've beaten the hell out of it, and then I just wake it right the heck up again. So, no, I'm not a very good practitioner of that technique, although a lot of the people I team up with will usually set a trap next to the monster whenever it goes to sleep, then just wake it and trap it, which is good advice too. Celos77 elaborates on this technique and says, for the love of all that's holy, carefully consider your options when a monster is weak and goes to its lair to sleep. Don't waltz in and pelt it in the face with a stray arrow, set up bombs near its head. If running a heavy weapon, or have a heavy weapon user on your team, let them take the lead and get off a beastly hit. If captured, throw down tranq bombs first, then a shock trap. But yeah, no stray arrow, that does only 9 damage. On the topic of weapons, Valetto writes, different weapons have different roles. Dual blade should go for the legs to trip the monster. Hammers and hunting horns must aim for the head to KO or exhaust it. Big cutting weapons should try to cut the tail first of all. Gun lances, charge blades, and switch axes have an easier time breaking parts than other weapons, so that should be their priority. And he's right, selecting your weapons is very important in this game because you can't just make your way through it all on the same weapon. I mean, I haven't practiced what I preached yet because I've still only used dual blades and nothing else. And that really bit me in the ass when I was trying to fight one of the flying monsters. Yeah, that did not go over well. I had to fire an SOS and wait for someone with a ranged weapon to help me take it down. And that whole entire fight was a clusterfuck anyway. But yeah, so be ready to use other than just your regular weapons. Voracious Coprophage writes, always bring flash bombs / flash pods and use them wisely. Don't just use them any old time, or use them right when the battle starts. Do use them when a monster is raging, or on a flying monster to make it fall out of the sky. You only get 3 or 6. The real pros will bring crafting materials and craft during the hunt to get maximum item use and effect. Want 6 bombs? Bring 3 flash bugs. Want to bring 4 traps? Bring trap tools and net bugs. You want to bring 198 pierce ammo? Bring them with the something berries. They have made the crafting so easy to manage with the autocraft could be more fine-tunable that I can often craft full 99 shots of ammo in the middle of a monster fight. Don't even have to run away. Actually, maybe you can take 5 or 10 flash bugs with you. There is a lot of flash pods around. Also 60. Pierces 60 rounds, and you can carry 99 nuts, berries, whatever. That's what he wrote in parentheses. Yeah, the flash pod and any of the flash techniques are amazing, but don't just fire it off for no reason. Always use it when you have an opportunity to get some massive damage in there. You need to get it ready, get it available, and have at it when you have those pods ready to fire. And finally, Walter writes, this one is kind of situational, but when you are in the Rotten Vale, equip torch pods and fire them to the ground to create a nice effluvium-free environment to hunt in. When I first did this, I had just got there when I got this advice, which was excellent, and at first when I started firing the torch pods, it didn't do much effect as visually as far as what it was doing, so I thought it wasn't working, but then I realized after you do fire a torch pod that it does make the effluvium go away for a while. But keep in mind it's not permanent. There are other ways I've read on how to be more effective against effluvium, but when you do just arrive there, there's plenty of torch pods to find all over the place, so keep them on you so you can clear out that nasty gas. Over here, Nicholas writes, the narrator for this video is a flawed experience. All of my attacks are 4 to 5 seconds long. If I miss, I'm swinging at dead air. No, they're not. You like the heavy attack and spam it like an asshole. To guarantee that attacks won't miss, wait for it to be stunned or otherwise immobile. Only makes sense. Everything about this video is wrong. Why would you post something like this to show the world as a sponsored ad? You're right, Nick. I shouldn't be spamming heart attack modes. Thanks for that. But genuinely, it does work because as long as I can get up in all those monsters' business, spamming heavy actually serves me well. But thanks for the input. And that's everyone's advice. I want to thank everyone for contributing to this post and making it all that it can be. See, because Hard Mode Gamers is not just about being another journalism site. You know, I'm not here to tell you everything you can do. I want the real gamers to come in, comment on these videos, and give you their best advice. I'll be making more videos like these in the future. We definitely want to get more audience participation and want to show you that we care on what you actually comment with. So, when we get our next video up, we'll prompt you for some more advice, and you just bring them in and get featured on Hard Mode Gamers.